A Father and Son's Jungle Adventure. Welcome to our channel. You are looking for tips to improve your English, aren't you? Let's follow us. We create stories by ourselves to help you learn English everyone and everywhere. If you like, give us like and subscribes. Many thanks. In a small town nestled at the edge of a vast and mysterious jungle, lived a father named Thomas and his adventurous son, Jack. Thomas, a seasoned explorer and naturalist, had always dreamt of passing on his love for nature and exploration to his son. Jack, a curious and energetic 12-year-old, shared his father's passion and often listened with wide-eyed wonder to the stories of his father's past expeditions. One summer, Thomas decided it was time to take Jack on his first real adventure. He had been planning a journey into the heart of the jungle, a place few had dared to explore. The dense foliage, exotic wildlife, and the promise of discovering uncharted territories beckoned them both. After months of preparation, gathering supplies, and ensuring they had all the necessary equipment, the day finally arrived. Thomas and Jack awoke early on the morning of their departure. The first light of dawn cast a golden glow over the town as they made their final preparations. Their backpacks were filled with essentials: food, water, a first aid kit, a compass, and a map that outlined their planned route. Thomas carried a machete to clear the path and a rifle for protection, while Jack eagerly clutched a notebook and a camera, ready to document every detail of their journey. As they ventured deeper into the jungle, the familiar sounds of the town faded away, replaced by the chorus of chirping birds, buzzing insects, and the rustle of leaves. The jungle was alive with movement and color. Jack marveled at the sight of vibrant flowers, towering trees, and exotic animals that he had only seen in books. "Stay close, Jack," Thomas reminded his son, his voice calm but firm. "The jungle is beautiful, but it can also be dangerous. We must stay alert." Jack nodded, his eyes wide with excitement and determination. He trusted his father completely and was eager to learn from him. They walked for hours, stopping occasionally to rest and admire the beauty around them. Thomas taught Jack how to identify different plants, some of which were edible while others were poisonous. Jack diligently took notes, his admiration for his father's knowledge growing with each passing moment. The sun climbed higher in the sky as Thomas and Jack continued their trek through the jungle. The air was thick with humidity, and the sounds of wildlife grew louder. Thomas led the way, expertly navigating the dense undergrowth with his machete, while Jack followed closely behind, his eyes scanning the surroundings for any signs of danger. As they ventured deeper, the jungle became more challenging to navigate. The path grew narrower, and the foliage denser. Thomas frequently stopped to check the map and compass, ensuring they stayed on course. Jack, despite the increasing difficulty, remained enthusiastic and eager to learn. "Look, Dad!" Jack exclaimed, pointing to a cluster of brightly colored flowers. "I've never seen flowers like these before." Thomas smiled, pausing to examine the flowers. "These are orchids, Jack. The jungle is home to many unique and beautiful plants. It's important to appreciate and respect them." They continued their journey, stopping occasionally to rest and admire the beauty around them. Thomas shared stories of his past adventures, recounting tales of encounters with exotic animals and discoveries of hidden treasures. Jack listened with rapt attention, his admiration for his father growing with each story. As the day progressed, the jungle became denser, and the path more difficult to navigate. The air was thick with humidity, and the sounds of wildlife grew louder. Suddenly, Thomas stopped in his tracks, raising his hand to signal Jack to be quiet. He had heard something, a sound that didn't belong to the usual jungle symphony. "Jack, stay close and keep quiet," Thomas whispered. "I think there's something nearby." They stood still, listening intently. The sound came again, a low growl followed by the rustling of leaves. Thomas slowly reached for his rifle, his senses on high alert. Jack's heart pounded in his chest as he scanned the surroundings, trying to catch a glimpse of what was causing the noise. Then, through the thick foliage, they saw it, a large jaguar, its golden eyes fixed on them. The jaguar was a magnificent creature, but also one of the most dangerous predators in the jungle. Thomas knew that any sudden movement could provoke an attack. "Jack, slowly back away," Thomas instructed, his voice steady. "Don't run. Just move slowly and keep your eyes on the jaguar." Jack followed his father's instructions, his legs trembling with fear. Thomas kept the rifle ready but hoped they wouldn't have to use it. The jaguar watched them, its muscles tensed, ready to pounce. But after a few tense moments, it seemed to lose interest and slunk back into the jungle. Thomas let out a sigh of relief and lowered the rifle. "That was close," he said, placing a reassuring hand on Jack's shoulder. "You did well, son. Let's keep moving." With the encounter with the jaguar behind them, Thomas and Jack continued their journey, more cautious than ever. The jungle grew thicker, and the path less discernible. They relied on the compass and map to guide them, but Thomas's instincts as an experienced explorer were invaluable. As night began to fall, they found a suitable spot to set up camp. Thomas showed Jack how to build a shelter using branches and leaves, and they started a small fire to keep animals at bay and to cook their dinner. They shared stories and laughed, the earlier danger momentarily forgotten in the warmth of their bond. The night in the jungle was both mesmerizing and eerie. The symphony of nocturnal creatures filled the air, and the dense canopy of trees cast long, dancing shadows. Jack found it difficult to sleep, his mind racing with the excitement and wonders of the day. Thomas, ever watchful, stayed awake for most of the night, ensuring his son's safety. The next morning, after a quick breakfast, they packed up their camp and continued their journey. According to the map, they were approaching an area marked as the Hidden Valley, a place rumored to hold untold wonders and ancient secrets. Thomas had always been intrigued by the legends surrounding this part of the jungle and was eager to see it with his own eyes. The terrain became more challenging, with steep inclines and treacherous ravines. They navigated carefully, using ropes and climbing gear when necessary. Jack's admiration for his father's skills grew as he watched him expertly handle every obstacle. After hours of arduous trekking, they finally reached the edge of the hidden valley. The sight that greeted them was beyond their wildest dreams. The valley was a lush, verdant paradise, filled with exotic plants and flowers, sparkling streams, and towering waterfalls. It was as if they had stepped into a different world. "Wow, Dad, this is incredible!" Jack exclaimed, his eyes wide with wonder. Thomas smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment. "It truly is, Jack. This place is a testament to the beauty and mystery of nature. Let's explore and see what we can discover." As they ventured deeper into the hidden valley, they stumbled upon something unexpected: ancient ruins hidden beneath the dense foliage. The remnants of stone structures, covered in moss and vines, suggested that this place had once been inhabited by an ancient civilization. Thomas and Jack were both thrilled and intrigued by the discovery. "These ruins must be centuries old," Thomas said, examining the intricate carvings on the stones. "It's amazing to think about the people who once lived here." Jack took out his camera and began photographing the ruins, eager to document their findings. They spent hours exploring the site, uncovering remnants of what appeared to be temples, dwellings, and even a marketplace. Thomas explained the significance of their discoveries, sharing his knowledge of ancient cultures and their ways of life. As they explored, they came across a series of stone tablets covered in mysterious symbols and writings. Thomas carefully examined them, trying to decipher their meaning. This could be a record of their history or a map to something even more significant, he mused. Jack, fascinated by the idea of uncovering ancient secrets, eagerly assisted his father. Together, they documented the symbols and markings, hoping to make sense of them later. The discovery of the ruins added a new layer of excitement and purpose to their journey. Just as they were getting ready to leave the ruins and set up camp for the night, the weather took a sudden turn. Dark clouds gathered overhead, and the wind began to howl through the trees. Thomas and Jack knew they had to find shelter quickly. "We need to move fast, Jack," Thomas urged. "A storm is coming, and it looks like it's going to be a big one." They hurriedly gathered their gear and began searching for a safe place to wait out the storm. The jungle, which had been so enchanting, now felt foreboding and dangerous. The wind grew stronger, and the first drops of rain began to fall. Finally, they found a small cave nestled in the side of a hill. It wasn't perfect, but it would provide some protection from the elements. They quickly set up their makeshift shelter inside the cave and secured their belongings. The storm hit with full force, the rain pounding down and the wind howling outside. Lightning flashed, illuminating the cave with brief, eerie light. Jack clung to his father, feeling a mix of fear and awe at the power of nature. "It's going to be okay, Jack," Thomas reassured him, holding him close. "We'll wait here until the storm passes. It's just another challenge we have to face." Hours passed, and the storm showed no signs of letting up. The entrance to the cave began to flood, and they were forced to move deeper inside. Thomas and Jack kept each other's spirits up by telling stories and making plans for the rest of their journey. As they ventured deeper into the cave to escape the rising water, Thomas and Jack stumbled upon a hidden chamber. The chamber was filled with stalactites and stalagmites, their formations creating a mesmerizing natural cathedral. But what caught their attention the most was the series of ancient paintings on the walls. "Look at this, Jack," Thomas said, his voice filled with wonder. "These paintings are incredible. They must be thousands of years old." The paintings depicted scenes of everyday life, hunting, and rituals of the ancient civilization that had once inhabited the hidden valley. They also showed images of animals, some of which were now extinct, and symbols similar to those they had found on the stone tablets outside. Jack took out his camera and began photographing the paintings, while Thomas carefully studied them. "These paintings tell a story," he said. "They might help us understand more about the people who lived here and their connection to the jungle." After the storm passed, Thomas and Jack decided to stay in the hidden chamber for a few more days. They were intrigued by the ancient paintings and wanted to study them further. Thomas believed that these paintings could hold clues to the ancient civilization's way of life, beliefs, and possibly even their downfall. Every morning, they would wake up early and explore the cave and its surroundings. They discovered more artifacts, pottery, tools, and jewelry, all of which pointed to a once thriving community. Jack meticulously documented each find, sketching and photographing everything in his notebook. One day, while exploring deeper into the cave, they came across a narrow passage that seemed to lead further underground. "What do you think, Dad?" Jack asked, peering into the darkness. Thomas hesitated for a moment, considering the potential dangers. "Let's take it slow, Jack. We need to be careful. This could be an important discovery, but we have to stay safe." They lit their torches and carefully made their way through the narrow passage. The air grew cooler, and the walls were damp with moisture. After what seemed like an eternity, they emerged into a vast underground chamber. "Wow," Jack whispered, his voice echoing in the cavernous space. The chamber was unlike anything they had seen before. The walls were adorned with more paintings, but these were different. They seemed to tell a chronological story of the civilization's rise and fall. In the center of the chamber stood a large stone altar, covered in intricate carvings and symbols. Thomas approached the altar, studying the carvings closely. "This must have been a place of great significance," he said. "Perhaps a temple or a place of worship." Jack took out his camera and began documenting the chamber. "Dad, look at this," he said, pointing to a series of carvings that depicted a great flood. "Do you think this could be related to the storm we experienced?" Thomas nodded thoughtfully. "It's possible. Ancient civilizations often recorded natural disasters in their art and mythology. This could be their way of explaining what happened to them." They spent the next few days exploring the underground chamber, piecing together the story of the ancient civilization. It became clear that the people who once inhabited the Hidden Valley had faced a series of catastrophic events, floods, droughts, and invasions, that ultimately led to their downfall. With their notebooks filled with sketches and observations, and their cameras loaded with photographs, Thomas and Jack decided it was time to leave the hidden chamber and continue their journey. They carefully packed their findings, ensuring they left the cave as they had found it, preserving its secrets for future explorers. As they made their way back to the surface, Thomas couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. They had discovered something truly remarkable, and he was proud of Jack for his curiosity and dedication. The return journey through the Hidden Valley was no less challenging than their initial trek. The terrain was rugged, and the weather unpredictable. But Thomas and Jack were prepared, their bond strengthened by the experiences they had shared. One evening, as they set up camp near a crystal-clear stream, Thomas took a moment to reflect on their adventure. "Jack, I'm really proud of you," he said, smiling at his son. "You've shown incredible courage and curiosity. This journey wouldn't have been the same without you." Jack beamed, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment. "Thanks, Dad. I've learned so much from you. This has been the best adventure ever." As they neared the edge of the Hidden Valley, Thomas and Jack faced one final challenge. The path ahead was blocked by a landslide, likely caused by the storm they had encountered earlier. The steep slope was covered in loose rocks and debris, making it treacherous to navigate. "We need to find a way around this," Thomas said, studying the terrain. "It's too dangerous to climb over." They spent hours searching for an alternative route, but the jungle was dense and unforgiving. Just as they were beginning to lose hope, they spotted a narrow ravine that seemed to lead in the direction they needed to go. "It's a risk, but it's our best option," Thomas said. "Let's move carefully and stay close." They made their way into the ravine, the walls towering above them. The path was narrow and uneven, but they pressed on, determined to reach the other side. Suddenly, a rumble echoed through the ravine, and the ground beneath them began to shake. "Earthquake!" Thomas shouted, grabbing Jack's arm. "Run!" They sprinted forward, dodging falling rocks and debris. The ravine seemed to close in around them, the walls shaking violently. Just as they reached the end of the ravine, a massive boulder crashed down behind them, blocking their path. Panting and covered in dust, they emerged into the open jungle. "That was close," Jack said, his voice trembling with adrenaline. Thomas nodded, his heart pounding. "Too close. But we made it. Let's keep moving." The final stretch of their journey was filled with a mix of relief and anticipation. They were tired and eager to return home, but also filled with a sense of accomplishment and wonder at the experiences they had shared. As they emerged from the jungle and saw the familiar sight of their town in the distance, Jack couldn't help but feel a pang of nostalgia. The jungle had become a part of him, and he knew that the memories of this adventure would stay with him forever. They were greeted with cheers and hugs from their family and friends, who had been anxiously awaiting their return. Thomas and Jack shared stories of their journey, recounting their discoveries and the challenges they had faced. The townspeople were amazed by the tales of the hidden valley and the ancient civilization. In the days that followed, Thomas and Jack worked together to compile their findings into a detailed report. They included sketches, photographs, and descriptions of the artifacts and paintings they had discovered. Their work was met with great interest from scholars and researchers, and they were invited to present their findings at conferences and museums. The adventure had not only strengthened the bond between Thomas and Jack but had also ignited a passion for exploration and discovery in Jack. He continued to learn from his father, eager to follow in his footsteps and become an explorer in his own right. Thomas, too, felt a renewed sense of purpose. He saw the impact their journey had on the town and the wider community. People were inspired by their story, and interest in the natural world and its preservation grew. Together, they embarked on new adventures, each journey bringing them closer and deepening their understanding of the world around them. The hidden valley and its secrets remained one of their most cherished discoveries, a reminder of the incredible journey they had shared. As the years passed, Thomas and Jack's legacy grew. They established a foundation dedicated to the study and preservation of ancient civilizations and natural habitats. Their work brought together scientists, researchers, and explorers from around the world, united by a shared passion for discovery and a commitment to preserving the planet's rich history and biodiversity. In the end, Thomas and Jack's jungle adventure was more than just a journey through the wilderness. It was a testament to the power of curiosity, courage, and the unbreakable bond between a father and his son. Their story inspired generations to come, a reminder that the greatest adventures are those we embark on together, driven by a shared love for the world and a desire to uncover its many mysteries.